along came sound, and that was the end of them. But a silent movie was pretty unexciting unless something was going on in the way of music or emphasis to the film. So they started out with pianos to begin with, and then the larger houses had orchestras. But they found out that one man on an organ could do the same job as an orchestra. Wurlitzer was the big company that built theater organs. They built a little over 2,200, and they were producing one a day in 1926. Wurlitzer had a number of models, from the very small instruments for very small neighborhood theaters, all the way up to the great big houses downtown. And the Fox theater chain went to Wurlitzer and said, "We want a special organ." And so they designed what was called the Fox Special. It was designed for houses 3,000 to 4,000 seats. There were 5 of them made: Detroit Fox, Brooklyn Fox, St. Louis Fox, San Francisco Fox, and New York Paramount, which was right down in Times Square. In the 60s, the early 60s, this New York Paramount was not doing very well, and they made provisions to tear the building out, make an office building out of it. But the organ had to go. And a group in Los Angeles bought the New York Paramount Wurlitzer, which was a big organ, shipped it to Los Angeles. They were going to put it into a neighborhood house, but it never happened. And they sold it to a group in Wichita, Kansas. And Wichita was building a big new entertainment center called Century 2. The organ made another trip to Wichita. Probably took at least 2 boxcars to move the organ. It was stored until they were ready to install. And while it was in this storage facility, an arson got to the console, stuffed paper under the keys and lit it off, and destroyed the console completely. The only part that survived was the pedal board, and it was scorched, but it did survive. Well, the organ was heavily insured. The bid went out to organ companies to see who would be willing to build a replacement console. Now, there were only 5 total of this style. And one company in the mid-continent looked it all over and kind of decided it was not for them. But the Balcolm and Vaughan firm in Seattle had experience in theater organs, and they presented the bid and it was accepted. Now we're into the late 60s, and this was a huge job. There were no blueprints, there were no patterns, no designs. The only thing they had were pictures of one of these big Fox Special consoles. So a couple people from Balcolm and Vaughan went down to California and took measurements off of the one that was down there. By the way, there are still 2 of the 5 in their original houses still playing. And the third one is in the Disney Theater on Hollywood Boulevard in the El Capitan. So there are 3 out of the 5. Balcolm and Vaughan was very busy turning out church work, and this project was huge. And it had to be fit in between church work when they had some time.
What year was that, Russ?
This would be the late 60s, maybe 70, okay. 71.
Okay.
I'm not real sure. Well, I had a grocery store in Wedgwood at the time, but I also had a 16 millimeter camera. And I talked to Bill Bunch, who is now president of the company, and agreed that I would come over and take pictures of this work in progress. That they would call me when they were going to work on it tomorrow, so I would arrange to be there with my camera. I had about 10 of these 3-minute rolls of film that I put together into one. It runs about 26 minutes, and it shows the building of this replacement console. Now, this is the console that they built. It has nothing to do with the pipes. This is just what the organist was sitting at the console to play the organ. That's the one that they built. It took, I don't know, 2 or 3 years of bits and pieces working their way through. I think at this point you can push the go button. And this was the organ as it left the theater. Very ornate. A big console. Now, when it came time to start working at Balcolm and Vaughan, this is what they had, with pictures to work with, plus some drawings and dimensions that they took. We're downstairs at Balcolm and Vaughan in the Meridian District, North Seattle, and the workshop, the wood shop was downstairs. So this is where all the work took place. This gentleman is Homer Toombs. He was the head craftsman in the wood shop. Now they're working on replacing what we call the heel board on a pedal board. You can see where it got scorched. But as you're sitting playing and you put your foot back to rest, this is the board that your heel hit. And this is a new piece where they made a brand new piece, and to fit onto this. Homer was a very meticulous craftsman, did a beautiful job. People say the whole console was destroyed, but this was the one piece that was not, that managed to survive. All the rest of the organ was not touched in the fire, only the console.
Thank goodness.
Anybody recognize him?
I don't know that chap.
Trying to think what his name was.
Now this fellow I do know. This is Harold Shower. He was an insurance man in the University District. The base now is started. You can see the first portion. I don't know what Homer's working on there, but
That's the press where he used to lay up the veneer plywood. He wouldn't buy the veneer plywood. He'd lay up his own veneer plywood. And that was the press they used to use with the pig's feet glue and squish it down and make a big sheet of veneer plywood to make the consoles.
well, now there's the pedal board is in place. The keys are missing, but what he's cutting there is the corbel. This is what supports the desk, the legs, so to speak, on each side. Really big, heavy duty.
That was easy. What was the thick width of that, thickness of that?
Yeah.
A lot of hours of handwork.
Yeah, you see, it supports the main table portion.
Yeah, it's just one of the legs.
So now we have a start.
They're building this in the basement?
Yes.
That's what
The wood shop was downstairs, yes.
Very low ceiling. It was miserable.
It was.
Here again, they're back working on the pedal board, putting the actual keys back in, and he's adding leather there to so that the key rides up and down without side movement. And
The shop was in the old Meridian Theater at 55th and Meridian.
yes, yes.
That's overall, it should be in the Smithsonian.
So you took this is a video, I mean, this is a film of a few years altogether, right?
Well, I think I'd have to check with Corky, but it seems to me it was a good 2 years, maybe a little more.
You're doing it a little at a time.
I get called, I go over,
Okay.
and I had the camera and a light bar with the four big lights on it.
Okay.
Now we're working on what they call the bolster. This is the curved part. A theater organist could reach out and turn the voices off and on at arm's length on an arc. And now this is just the form that they're making to be able to make the finished piece. They had some really great equipment downstairs in the wood shop, but it was pretty crowded. There wasn't a lot of room down there.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But you see, this is just one piece at a time.
And that Homer Toombs was a very particular craftsman. Everything had to be just perfect. If it wasn't perfect, then it wasn't going to work.
Now they're laying up thin strips of wood because they're going to make a curve out of this. So it's glued, and then another strip of wood is placed until they're piled up, I don't know, 7 or 8 thicknesses.
See how thin they are? And that's that old horse foot of glue, isn't it?
Pig's foot. Wasn't it?
It was horse glue.
Horse.
It was probably a hide glue, yes. Maybe not, maybe,
It stuck so bad.
We have dark brown.
Yeah. Boy, watch out.
this piece has to end. There's the owner of the company. There's the form.
Oh my gosh.
And what they're going to do is take and bend those pieces.
That's Bill Butch. He was the owner of the company.
This was the gentleman that took over from the original owner.
Oh my gosh, that's Frank.
God, this figure Frank.
Yeah.
This is quite a process. It's amazing. There's clamp number 1, but wait till they're finished.
Oh boy. Wow. Wow.
Jorgensen clamps, right?
Yes.
I wondered.
It's amazing you have all these pictures, Russ.
How he got those angles correct, I really and truly don't know. It had to be looking at pictures and taking measurements. And of course, all those strips and glue have to set up. But
Oh.
You find all the clamps. That's something.
think in terms of this is just one small piece, and the labor it took to put it together.
And the fantastic part of my and Tim's job, we got to do the final work in the organ and get ready to have it tuned, and I could stand in that organ chamber while they were playing the organ, and it was amazing.
An incredible sound.
Your whole body just vibrated.
Wow.
Now that's the piece that was clamped.
More than one.
Beautifully done. Keyboards are in place. It's beginning to look like something now.
And that's a big organ, all those keyboards. And which one is this, Russ?
Pardon?
This which console is this? Where did it go?
Oh, it went to Wichita.
Oh, to the Wichita. Okay.
Century 2, and I understand it's got to leave there now.
Uh-oh.
It's still there. Wow.
It's still there, yes.
Andy, did you go on that job?
I don't believe so. I was just here before my time. I spent plenty of hours in that shop though with no Homer.
All of our
Is
kids
that
were
Jim
very
Yarno?
Jim Yarno.
Jim Yarno.
Yeah.
Oh, you
The
wouldn't
boy
want-
in blue shirt.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the wonderful thing about this company. All of our kids all got to work there during their holidays and summer and everything.
Now this piece that he's working on here is a curved, I call them skirts. I don't know what the right name is, but it filled in so you didn't look
Oh, hell yeah.
into a big hole on the sides.
This guy was apprentice for 2 or 3 years. Here's Jim Yarno.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah, Jim was there when I was working on it.
You have to remember that all this work was to build one. There was no way to get any kind of production out of it or make more. It was one only.
Yeah, each one was certainly custom built. Each organ.
Is that really Jim or is that someone else?
That's Jim.
That's Jim.
That's
Okay.
Jim.
Yeah.
Young Jim.
Man, no kidding.
Who's the blue shirt?
Jim
Jim
Yarno.
Yarno.
Jim.
Jim and Joan Yarno.
He has more patience than I ever realized.
Well, we're making real progress.
Man.
This is the custom-made bench.
Hmm.
And Wurlitzer had a very definite style, and it's being copied.
Almost right hand man. Really?
Yeah. He went to the game for and
Oh my goodness.
in the years I was going there.
That's all. That's
He looked up in the radio.
Woodsmith. Craftsman working out of the plugs?
Well, Pastor Stowe was on the radio. And he was in the radio.
When Homer was quite ill, I took this film out to his home and showed it to him, and thoroughly enjoyed. Now this is the big lid and the curved part that comes down on an angle.
What kind of wood was it?
Sorry?
Kind of wood.
What kind of wood is it?
Oh boy.
Birch.
Probably a lot of poplar.
Until you get to the finish of it.
Wood that had no twist to it, you know, and perfectly straight. I think it was right about here, and I said, Homer, I want to show these people the size of this console. Yeah. Wow.
That thing is huge.
Now this is taken upstairs now, huh?
Well, this is still all
So
down,
this
down
is
in
what
the
he did.
shop. Still down in the shop.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, Homer, as I recall, wasn't very tall.
No, he's short.
He was.
Now this is cutting a design on the board that's actually on the top, and he made a special cutter, and it's following a pattern underneath. This is where he's working on the cutter. And of course he made this because there was no place where he could buy the right cutter.
And they're hand holding that as level as possible. Wow.
That's a big piece of wood too.
No kidding.
All the corners rounded so now more sharp.
Now it's upstairs now. It's been moved out of the wood shop. This is, you might call it the final assembly area.
That thing is huge.
Yeah, and it had to come apart also, from the fact that you had to get it out of the shop.
Well, it went out in one piece, believe it or not.
Doors through Dean's area and out the front. Lower corner. From upstairs. Had to come apart to get out of the basement for sure.
Now all those little pieces you see there
Man.
are little pneumatics. The upper one will turn the stop tab on, and the bottom one turns it off with a little puff of air. There's our girl.
There you are.
Backwards.
And she wired and she wired and she wired.
Mom, you get 10 points.
And I got tired of walking it.
This is typical wiring that she was doing.
One wire for every single note on that whole organ.
Oh my goodness.
And once you get it in, then you have to finish the wiring.
Is that you, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Solder all the wires and little pins.
Yeah, I'm wrapping them over there to hold them, to wrap each one of them onto this strip. So that they'll come out in the right place.
There's Daddy-o.
Here's Ken.
There's my honey.
Now this was built before we had electronics. Today, a lot of what you're looking at is replaced with electric actions. This is what they call a completely pneumatic console. Everything that works on it gets a puff of air.
Wow.
You have to run air to the console. Pressurized air. And Each tab has an off and an on. Little puff of air. And Ken did a lot of the meticulous finish work. Yeah, I don't think he was downstairs much, but
No.
upstairs was the big job.
Yeah, and making cable.
Now those on the left, with all those vinyls, were supplying the air.
They're testing out wires. You hook up one end, then you have to test the other end to make sure you get the right wire to go in the right hole.
Yeah.
Every single wire had to
They
be
found the wire with a spark and or a buzzer.
It's before color coding.
Yeah.
Yes, there was no color code. Every wire looked like the next one.
Felt like you were blind by the time you got done with the day.
It was an enormous job. I think my guess is that when Balcolm and Vaughan finally delivered it, they'd paid their bills, but I don't think they made any money on it. It was so big and so tedious, and there was nothing to gauge it by.
How could you make a bid on a project like that?
I don't know. I think they did have to bid.
It was a guesstimate. Make sure they all feel the same. Pocket protector.
4 layers of keys.
Yeah. 4 layers of stops.
Yeah.
And then keyboard, well, they had the keyboard and then the footboard. Look at that. Look at all those keys.
It was also made slightly different than the factory so that it was way more serviceable.
Oh,
See how you can lift each one of those keyboards up and get to it and all the wiring?
Yeah.
he did a fabulous job of filming
Really, yeah.
Sorry?
Beautiful job of filming it.
It was a fun project.
You sure did a wonderful job, Russ.
Almost 50 years ago.
I know.
You should put that on TV.
Now Ken's working on the junction which transmits all the information from the keys.
Andy,
There's Andy.
there's Andy.
Now,
They're in the movie, dude.
Those boxes with all the vinyl, they
on
are
the left.
a massive project themselves. Just one of those boxes, full of parts.
How many years did you work there, Andy?
on and off, shoot, long time. Couldn't even guess.
Everybody remembers Don Myers.
Oh, yes.
My
Make sure you
husband,
remember him.
my husband was there for 42 years.
See the little hole on the end? That's where the vinyl tubing hooked on that gave it a shot of air.
That's really,
That is your gigantic.
That had to be after me.
And every one of those stops went to a pipe or an instrument of some kind in the chamber that made the sound, right?
everyone stopped
Yes.
to a set of pipes. Of up to 72 pipes.
That was it. That was the final day.
No,
finished.
not quite.
Well, it's been to the paint shop and it has a base coat of paint. All the parts were sent out for painting, then reassembled, getting really close to shipping to Wichita.
One person player.
Now the pedal board he's working on there has a cable permanently hooked into the main console, so it has to tag along. You can't separate it and walk away with it. Now this is the day that the moving van arrived.
Who designed the whole thing?
Sorry?
Who designed it and how it was going to be built?
Who's that little guy? That's it. You got Andy?
Yeah.
That's so small next to that console. I was thinking it might have been.
Now I'm on those stairs, you know, going up to the.
You got the door out.
Look at how close it was getting out of the building.
That was mine.
Boy, that was a big day.
It really was.
Sporting t-shirt. That shot.
Oh my gosh,
Were you in high school, Andy?
wrestling team, yeah.
Everybody got in on the act.
Andy, you're getting
They
squished.
just
in.
barely went.
Help!
That's what happened to your shoulder.
Sound the alarm.
Jeez.
Oh
That's where
my
we used
word.
to line up
Rolls
the
out on the
back there.
sidewalk.
Early.
Mm. Ted.
Pedal board had to
See,
go
the
on
pedal
with
board
it.
has to tag along. Too bad it didn't have a disconnect.
Mm.
I see a 65 Ford wagon.
There he is.
Mm-hmm.
T-Bird.
Don Myers
Don's car.
T-Bird.
Oh, yeah?
That was Don Myers.
Mhm.
I think that was Homer's
Loaded it
car.
up on the.
Well, that was the early 70s. I got out of high school.
Now, right at this point, I'm hoping my film will hold out, but I don't quite make it. See, the tail was dragging on the sidewalk here, and
You can do it. You can do it.
and that's the end of my film.
Oh my gosh, that's so.
You need an elephant.
Who went to install it?
That's
Hey,
it.
that was great.